welcome to a new edition of Harry's Garage. It seems to be quite a while since I last did one, but it's been a very exciting summer with lots of new additions, including the Porsche you see behind me. Now, at first glance, it looks like a 993 GT2, and it sort of almost is but decent. It started life as a 993 regular turbo, so a four-wheel drive one, and I spotted it back in about April time, and I was really quite taken. I loved the red paint. I've always loved the GT2 look. And at the time, I had that other Porsche turbo, the 930 one that you might have seen a video of. I did a few months ago. Strange car, the 930, because that was about the most perfect one example I'd ever found. And yet to drive, I never quite fell in love with it. It was slightly awkward and I was sort of frustrated by it. I just couldn't get on top of it, and when I did, I didn't really enjoy it. It didn't quite have the performance I sort of wanted it to have, and I was sort of thinking about tuning it. I thought, this is mad, this is the most perfect example. So I had another look at this car, rang up Hexagons, and this crazy Porsche world we're in, because this is a modified car, it actually meant I could trade in my 930, put some cash in my back pocket, and come away with this weapon of a 911 because it's modified. Therefore today's market doesn't really like it. But what a machine it turned out to be. I'm going to give you a tour around. Let's have a look. Homologation Special came out in '95 with 430 horsepower, and it was radically different to a regular 993 turbo. Highly limited production. There's around 57 road-going examples of them, only 7 in right-hand drive. It was the sort of pinnacle of the 993 range. First of all, four-wheel drive was ditched. It was two-wheel drive. They then fitted these bolt-on extensions to the body to widen. They had a much wider track at the rear and the front. They fitted alloy bonnet and doors to it. They tweaked the engine, so the standard 993 turbo is 408 horsepower. They went to 430 horsepower. And inside, it was all the toys had gone. There's air conditioning gone, radio gone, wind-up windows, door cars, stripped interior, rear seats gone. And they managed to shed 200 kilos by doing all that. Now, in fact, when you actually owners sort of spec them, quite a few then put back the electric windows and the air conditioning and a radio and 1 or 2 airbags and things. But if you want to turn a 993 turbo into a GT2 like this is, you've got to be a brave guy to sort of do it, because it's brutal what they do to the body. To get those bolt-on arches, if we have a closer look at this car, everybody says they're riveted. They're actually little lovely stainless steel Allen key bolts all around. Now, what you actually do to put those arches on, you have to take an angle grinder to your 911 and you cut all along here and just kill the body on the turbo. So you don't do it. Once you've made that your first incision, you're stuffed and you're completely committed once you've done it. But then you bolt on the arches and you get this wonderful look. This extra, it's 60mm wider. The wheels are slightly wider as well. This one carries 285s on the back. They just tuck under. It's really close as they tuck under there, and the front is even closer. The other change of a GT2 is this rear spoiler, this monster rear spoiler. The wing is adjustable here. If you take this off, you've got some bolt adjustments. But the key thing with it also is it has those intakes either side, and that basically rams air into the engine. So it's a very functional spoiler. And then slightly bizarrely, although it's always known as a GT2, the badge was always GT, like that, rather than GT2. Very odd. Okay, we have a quick look inside of my car. Well, it's got the GT2 door cards here, so just plain, no pockets here. With the sort of money saved by selling the 930 and buying this, so I'm using the sort of surplus to further GT2 it. So I've put these seats in. I had these, commissioned these from a company in Germany who make them to order. I think they're glorious. They were always colour backed in the GT2. Wonderful RS seats. I've actually added that steering wheel, so this is a 911 Cup steering wheel, race wheel, done by Momo. Glorious thing, suede covered, it's really good. And then the final bits I'm going to do is I've commissioned a GT2 carpet set to be made. These rear seats are going, and that rear parcel shelf goes as well. And I'll be just in this glass and the rear screen. If we just quickly pop around the other side, you can tell this isn't a true GT2 because it's got a rear wiper. They have light and glass, heated element goes, and you can see those speakers and all that, that's all gone as well. Another thing very distinctive on the GT2 is you get these split rim speedline wheels, and I'm told if you actually put your hand under here and they're solid like these are, then they're made of magnesium for super lightweight, which I really like. Up the front, I'll just lift this up, there you go, you get a completely stripped interior, you get a brace bar, not that isn't actually the standard one, but no carpets, that's all gone in here. There's a typical sort of RS feel to it. There's xenon headlights, and up there is the spec sheet. It's a really useful tip if you're buying a 911, always check that out, and then you can go on, Google it, and you can find out what options the car came with as standard. Okay, now the one thing about this car, it was slightly lacking on history. It was obviously, when you saw it, it had been really well done, but they're trying to tease the details out exactly what had been done, particularly to the engine, is hard work actually. This is what the car came with, and I discovered the car originally was modified by this company in Germany, which I'm not going to pretend to pronounce, but there's these huge bills. There's one for 11,900, 2,000, oh it goes on and on, 339, I think there's another one in here, 10,000 or something. Anyway, a lot of work had been done to this engine, and it was actually, this car was sold at Coy's auction in Monaco. I bought it from Hexagons, but back then in the particulars they describe it as having 520 horsepower, a serious amount of horsepower. I had it inspected at Autofarm. We then produced this 6-paged document on it, and the one thing they couldn't get over was its performance. It's a serious bit of kit this, but we don't actually know what's been done to the car. So I'm going to do a bit more fishing, and I'm going to do another video soon when I'm going to take it up to Bruntingthorpe or something and just show the sort of performance this car's got. But even so, I think it's well worth just taking it out on the road, so let's go and do that. Slightly bear with me on this one. There's some squeaks and rattles in this car. They're all going to get fixed by Autofarm when I take it in to have all the carpets set and the rear seats removed. Hopefully they won't interfere with this video too much. So this is a sort of an early taste of this car. The other thing, all suspension's been done on this car during the conversion. So this is running on Bilstein suspension, lowered further to a regular 993 turbo. That's GT2 is about 20mm lower than a regular turbo. This is slightly lower than that. The other thing it's got is trick front wishbones that add a bit of camber at the front. There's quite a lot of camber at the rear. It's a very serious bit of kit, this car. Basically, it's although it's fairly civilised, it's more suited to on track than on road. But just being a 911 means it's pretty good on road. And it's also chuffing quick. I've been very lucky to drive a lot of quick 911s, and I had a 993 turbo for a while, and it's glorious. You like feeding the fire with each gear change. But the funny thing is about the 993 turbo is it's sort of phased. Maximum power's at 5750. It was the same story with the GT2. The GT2 swapped the turbos for K24 turbos. That was an obligation special. They weren't really tested in road-going form at 430. It had a slightly extra boost. This runs, bear with me, K16 turbos, a hybrid version, so different internals, sort of like you used to do head tuning. All the turbos have all been reworked. It must be running a cam or something, because this thing lights up at 4,000 RPM and then goes on to reheat at 6,000. Just when a normal turbo fades, this one really gets going, and it just clatters into the rev limiter at about 7.2. But 6 to 7.2, unreal. It just flies, and it takes a lot of work to get high horsepower out of a 993 turbo. They don't give power very, very easily, but this one does. And I'm going to show you just a roll test. So I'm going to go down to 2,000 RPM. There we are, 2,000 RPM in third, and away we go. And we got good acceleration instantly, and 4,000 we're off. And 6, and into the limiter. Unbelievable. I don't know what sort of speed this thing does. That's why I'm going to take you to Bruntingthorpe. I mean, a regular GT2's 8.5-ish to 100, so it's serious performance.
chassis. And I was lucky enough 2 weeks ago to take, I had a 993S, so that was the 450 horsepower, sort of last of the line of the 993. Well, I can remember it back in its day as a road car. That was a very serious, it lifted the performance well beyond a regular turbo. We was astonished what it could do. Drove it next to this, and it felt to be ordinary. I hope the owner isn't watching this, but compared to this, it was just the steer is that much more dynamic on this car. It's got this way more performance on offer than that 450 horsepower 993. So I'm very happy with this car. Oh, here we go again, down the game. I'm very happy with this car, as you can probably tell. This is going to be an ongoing